Hello everyone, how are you? I am Mr. Tariq, science teacher, and now we will talk about the first lesson for Junior 5, second term. Friction. Friction, when an object moves, there is an opposite force on such a motion, known as friction. In this lesson, we will study some subjects related to friction, such as what is friction and types of friction. In the beginning, what is the friction? When you move a ball on the sandy floor on the playground, it stops after a short time. But when you move this ball on smooth floor on the classroom with the same strength, it stops after a longer time. The effect of friction force exists between the ball and the ground, where this force has an effect in the opposite direction of the movement. Therefore, the ball stops. If you move a bike and stop pedaling, the speed decreases gradually until it stops. The effect of friction force exists between the bicycle and the ground, where this force has an effect in the opposite direction of the movement. Therefore, the bicycle slows down till it stops. Look at this figure. We'll see that direction of movement forward, but the direction of friction backward. Friction is in the opposite direction of movement. Definition of friction force. Friction force. Force exists between two surfaces. Again, force exists between two surfaces and effect in opposite direction of movement. Again, force exists between two surfaces and effect in opposite direction of movement. Repeat after me. Force exists between two surfaces and effect in opposite direction of movement. The factor affects the friction. Factor affects the friction. Number one, surface area of moving object. Number two, type of surface area. Number three, speed of the body. Again, the factor affects the friction force. Number one, surface area of moving object. Number two, type of the surface material. Number three, the speed of the body. Surface area of the moving object. The first thing is that effect on the friction. There is a direct relation between the surface area of the moving object and the friction. When the surface area increases, the friction increases. Look at this figure. We'll see that large piece of glass, and in the other figure there is a small piece of glass. The large piece of glass has more friction than small piece of glass. In larger surface area, by increase the surface area, the friction force increase. In a small surface area, by increase the surface area, by decrease the surface area, the friction force decrease. Type of the surface material. In rough surface, the friction force increase between rough surface. In a smooth surface, the friction force decrease between smooth surface. rough يعني خشن وسموث ناعم. Speed of body. There is a direct relation between the speed of moving a body and the friction force. Slow object, low speed. By decrease the speed of an object, the friction force decrease. Fast object, high speed. By increase the speed of an object, the friction force increase. Friction appears during the movement of object in water or in air. Now we will study air resistance and water resistance. Air resistance, type of friction resulting from object movement through air. Again, type of friction resulting from moving from object movement through air. Like the car. When the car moves so fast, there is a friction between the car and the air. It's called air resistance. When an object moves so fast in the air, the friction force between this object and the air increase. The effect of air resistance is great when the car moves so fast, and it decreases when the car moves slowly. Air resistance, مقاومة الهواء. Type of friction, again, type of friction resulting from, again, type of friction resulting from object movement through air, again, type of friction resulting from object movement through air. Air resistance, there is a direct relation between the object surface exposed to air and the amount of air resistance. This means that the more area of surface area to the air, the more the amount of air resistance. This happened to the parachutes when he opened the parachute to increase air resistance, to decrease his falling speed. The parachute opens the parachute to increase surface area. When increase surface area, air resistance increase and land safely. Again, give reason. The parachute opens the parachute to increase surface area by increase air resistance and land safely. Again, increase surface area, increase air resistance and land safely. Air resistance. To decrease air resistance affect the car, train and rocket, we should decrease the area of the surface exposed to air, so they are designed in a streamlined shape. The rocket and the train and the plane, all of this have streamlined shape. Streamlined shape means that شكل انسيابي. يعني شكل انسيابي عشان decrease air resistance and move fast. Water resistance. Water resistance like air resistance. احنا بس احنا بس بنشيل كلمة air ونحط مكانها كلمة water. نفس الكلام. Type of friction. Force result from object movement in water. Again, type of friction force resulting from object movement in water. Again, friction force resulting from, again, friction force resulting from object movement in water. When an object moves so fast in water, such as sheep or fish, the friction force between this object and water increase. Look at this dolphin. Direction of motion forward, but the direction of friction force is backward. Water resistance. The friction force between the object and the water increase since the area of surface exposed to water increase. when the eh, when the air surface area increase, the water resistance increase. Small fish move in the water, and the whale will move in the water. So when the whale move in the water, increase surface area. The streamline shape of the fish decrease the water resistance.